Trump secretly switched planes over fears Iran could shoot him down. But Marco Rubio stayed behind. The Secretary of State remained aboard the aircraft everyone believed was carrying the president, effectively turning Air Force One into a decoy. Now comes the twist. The CIA reportedly had doubts about the Israeli intelligence behind the threat. So, was Rubio left flying aboard Iran's potential target? Fresh revelations have raised new questions over the intelligence that prompted one of the most unusual security operations ever undertaken to protect a sitting US president. According to the Washington Post, CIA analysts privately expressed skepticism about Israeli intelligence warning of an Iranian assassination plot against President Donald Trump during last month's NATO summit in Turkey. While the warning prompted an extraordinary covert evacuation, US intelligence officials reportedly viewed the information as low confidence and were unconvinced it pointed to an imminent attack. Trump was seen publicly boarding the aircraft identified as Air Force One after the NATO summit in Ankara. Minutes later, hidden from public view by an airport catering truck, he was quietly transferred to another US Air Force aircraft, a C-32A, before departing Turkey. Meanwhile, dozens of White House aides, members of the traveling press corps, and several senior administration officials remained aboard the aircraft publicly identified as Air Force One, believing the president was traveling with them. The covert operation only became public after multiple media investigations reconstructed the president's movements.
The intelligence was Israeli-derived, not US-generated, and viewed as low confidence.
The Washington Post also reported that some current and former American officials believed the episode reflected a broader pattern, in which Israeli intelligence assessments were sometimes viewed as attempting not only to inform Washington, but also to influence presidential decision-making regarding Iran. CBS News has since revealed further details of the operation. According to US officials familiar with the matter, American, Turkish, and Allied intelligence services intercepted reports suggesting Iran may have been preparing to target the presidential aircraft with a surface-to-air missile. Intelligence also pointed to a possible missile team operating inside Turkey, although follow-up investigations reportedly failed to locate such a unit. Even without conclusive evidence, security officials concluded the potential consequences of ignoring the warning were simply too great. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent knowingly remained aboard the publicly identified Air Force One to preserve the constitutional line of succession, while Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth joined Trump aboard the secret aircraft. Members of the traveling press and many White House staff were never informed that the president had changed planes.
The Secret Service has had 3 near misses with this president, so they're not taking any chances. They did what they had to do.
The White House declined to comment directly on the conflicting intelligence assessments. However, one administration official defended the operation, saying Trump has faced repeated threats from Iran and that every available measure was taken to protect him. Speaking after details of the covert flight emerged, Trump confirmed that the decision had been made by the military and the Secret Service. Trump also dismissed suggestions that traveling on a separate aircraft made him safer than those left aboard the decoy plane.
I guess there was a threat out there. I didn't really ask too much about it. I get a lot of threats. No, not surprised. I have a lot of threats. I have a lot of threats that you don't know about. Any consequential president has a lot of threats. Non-consequential presidents don't get threatened. And I think that I'm maybe the most consequential.
How close is Iran to pulling something off?
There's nobody who's done more than me in a period of almost 6 years. There's nobody. I think actually the plane that I flew on was at greater risk.
After landing at a Royal Air Force base in the United Kingdom, Trump transferred back onto the newly retrofitted presidential aircraft before completing his journey to Washington. The episode has now sparked a wider debate inside Washington over the reliability of Allied intelligence the balance between caution and credibility, and whether extraordinary presidential security measures should be based on threats that America's own intelligence analysts consider far from certain. US President Donald Trump was secretly flown out of Turkey aboard a smaller military aircraft last month after US officials identified what was described as a credible Iranian threat against him. According to the Washington Post, the operation took place on July 8th, after Trump attended a NATO summit in Ankara, one day after US forces resumed strikes on Iran following the breakdown of negotiations between Washington and Tehran. Publicly, Trump said he would leave Turkey aboard the legacy Boeing 747, previously used as Air Force One. Television cameras showed him boarding that aircraft. But according to the Post, Trump was moved minutes later through another door into an airport catering truck positioned alongside the plane. The truck then transported him to a smaller Air Force C-32A, a modified Boeing 757. Trump reportedly flew to Britain aboard that aircraft, while journalists and some White House staff traveled on the legacy Air Force One, believing the president was with them. The larger aircraft effectively served as a decoy. The operation was reportedly triggered by intelligence concerning a specific Iranian threat against Trump or his aircraft.
The new Air Force One is a state-of-the-art aircraft that has been fitted with high-level security protocols that ensure the safety of the president and his staff. As the president has said recently, there are many enemies of America who have their sights on him, and we use every tool at our disposal to address those threats.
The C-32A carrying Trump reportedly used the nondescript military call sign Reach 18 while flight tracking systems were switched off. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reportedly traveled on the same aircraft. Journalists boarding the decoy Air Force One were meanwhile instructed to close their window shades. Former acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe Jr. said secrecy around presidential protection was sometimes essential.
We need to keep the secret in Secret Service. The public should know what the president is doing on a daily basis, but when it comes to the methods by which the Secret Service keeps the president safe, that should remain out of public view.
After landing at RAF Mildenhall in Britain, Trump later appeared before cameras descending from the legacy Air Force One. Although the report says it remains unclear how he transferred between aircraft after arrival. Trump later acknowledged the danger surrounding the journey.
Do you know why they had us close our window blinds? That was not usual.
Well, yeah, because you're probably on a dangerous flight because of the sleaze bags that we have to deal with.
Do you think that Iran was possibly thinking targeting?
Well, I mean, if they asked you to close your windows, probably they'd feel that way. They didn't ask me to close mine, but if they did, I would have done it. No, these are sick people, so I could see something like that. I didn't know they did that, but I could see something like that.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force
Well, I have
One?
a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go.
The episode highlights the extraordinary measures taken to protect the US president during a period of heightened confrontation with Iran, while also raising questions over how far officials went to conceal his movements from the public, journalists, and even members of his own traveling party.